Welcome to the Catholic Culture Podcast, dedicated to the Holy Family. I'm Thomas V. Miras. Today I'm speaking to the Italian sculptor Jago, whose bust of Pope Benedict won a pontifical medal, about the meaning of marble, the degeneracy of the art establishment, and the new patronage on social media. Hey everyone, so I saw an advanced screening of the new Tolkien biopic last night, and I gotta say it was better than I expected. The writers and director clearly put quite a bit of thought and research into it. There's some really obscure references tastefully planted in there. There's not a lot of Catholicism in the film, but what little there is portrayed positively, if not with perfect understanding. I'm hoping maybe I can interview the director, but I just wanted to mention that the film is good for those of you who are wondering if it was worth seeing. I've got a very enjoyable guest for you in this episode, but before we get to that, I wanted to follow up on something that I mentioned last week, namely the idea of doing a Church Fathers audiobook series. Now, in the past week, we have actually recorded a test run for this. It is the letter of St. Ignatius of Antioch, saint of the 1st century AD, to the Christians in Rome, where he was headed on his way to be martyred. It's a beautiful and profound letter, and we've got a wonderful performance by our voiceover artist, James T. Majewski, and I'd like to get your feedback on it. So I'm going to go ahead and play that for you now. It's about 10 minutes, so if you want, you can skip about 10 minutes ahead to get to the interview, but you really shouldn't because you're going to enjoy this.
Ignatius, who is also called Theophorus, to the Church which has obtained mercy through the majesty of the Most High Father and Jesus Christ, his only begotten Son, the Church, which is beloved and enlightened by the will of him that willeth all things which are according to the love of Jesus Christ our God, which also presides in the place of the report of the Romans, worthy of God, worthy of honor, worthy of the highest happiness, worthy of praise, worthy of obtaining her every desire, worthy of being deemed holy, and which presides over love, is named from Christ and from the Father, which I also salute in the name of Jesus Christ, the Son of the Father. To those who are united, both according to the flesh and spirit, to every one of his commandments, who are filled inseparably with the grace of God, and are purified from every strange taint, I wish abundance of happiness unblameably in Jesus Christ our God. Through prayer to God I have obtained the privilege of seeing your most worthy faces, and have even been granted more than I requested, for I hope, as a prisoner in Christ Jesus, to salute you, if indeed it be the will of God that I be thought worthy of attaining unto the end. For the beginning has been well ordered, if I may obtain grace to cling to my lot without hindrance unto the end. For I am afraid of your love, lest it should do me an injury. For it is easy for you to accomplish what you please, but it is difficult for me to attain to God, if you spare me. For it is not my desire to act towards you as a man-pleaser, but as pleasing God, even as also you please him. For neither shall I ever have such another opportunity of attaining to God, nor will you, if you shall now be silent, ever be entitled to the honor of a better work. For if you are silent concerning me, I shall become God's. But if you show your love to my flesh, I shall again have to run my race. Pray, then, do not seek to confer any greater favor upon me than that I be sacrificed to God while the altar is still prepared, that, being gathered together in love, you may sing praise to the Father through Christ Jesus, that God has deemed me, the Bishop of Syria, worthy to be sent for from the east unto the west. It is good to set from the world unto God, that I may rise again to him. You have never envied anyone. You have taught others. Now I desire that those things may be confirmed by your conduct, which in your instructions you enjoin on others. Only request, in my behalf, both inward and outward strength, that I may not only speak, but truly will, and that I may not merely be called a Christian, but really be found to be one. For if I be truly found a Christian, I may also be called one, and be then deemed faithful when I shall no longer appear to the world. Nothing visible is eternal. For the things which are seen are temporal, but the things which are not seen are eternal. For our God, Jesus Christ, now that he is with the Father, is all the more revealed in his glory. Christianity is not a thing of silence only, but also of manifest greatness. I write to the churches and impress on them all that I shall willingly die for God unless you hinder me. I beseech of you not to show an unseasonable goodwill towards me. Suffer me to become food for the wild beasts, through whose instrumentality it will be granted me to attain to God. I am the wheat of God, and let me be ground by the teeth of the wild beasts, that I may be found the pure bread of Christ. Rather entice the wild beasts, that they may become my tomb, and may leave nothing of my body, so that when I have fallen asleep in death, I may be no trouble to anyone. Then shall I truly be a disciple of Christ, when the world shall not see so much as my body. Entreat Christ for me, that by these instruments I may be found a sacrifice to God. I do not, as Peter and Paul, issue commandments unto you. They were apostles. I am but a condemned man. They were free, while I am, even until now, a servant. But when I suffer, I shall be the freedman of Jesus, and shall rise again emancipated in him. And now, being a prisoner, I learn not to desire anything worldly or vain. From Syria even unto Rome I fight with beasts, both by land and sea, both by night and day, being bound to 10 leopards, I mean a band of soldiers, who, even when they receive benefits, show themselves all the worse. But I am the more instructed by their injuries to act as a disciple of Christ. Yet am I not thereby justified. May I enjoy the wild beasts that are prepared for me, and I pray they may be found eager to rush upon me, which also I will entice to devour me speedily, and not deal with me as with some whom out of fear they have not touched. But if they be unwilling to assail me, I will compel them to do so. Pardon me in this, I know what is for my benefit. Now I begin to be a disciple, and let no one, of things visible or invisible, envy me that I should attain to Jesus Christ. Let fire and the cross, let the crowds of wild beasts, let tearings, breakings, and dislocation of bones, let cutting off of members, let shatterings of the whole body, and let all the dreadful torments of the devil come upon me, only let me attain to Jesus Christ. All the pleasures of the world and all the kingdoms of this earth shall profit me nothing. It is better for me to die in behalf of Jesus Christ than to reign over all the ends of the earth. For what shall a man be profited if he gain the whole world but lose his own soul? Him I seek, who died for us. Him I desire, who rose again for our sake. This is the gain which is laid up for me. Pardon me, brethren. Do not hinder me from living. Do not wish to keep me in a state of death. And while I desire to belong to God, do not you give me over to the world. Suffer me to obtain pure light. When I have gone thither, I shall indeed be a man of God. Permit me to be an imitator of the passion of my God. If anyone has him within himself, let him consider what I desire, and let him have sympathy with me, as knowing how I am straitened. The prince of this world would fain carry me away and corrupt my disposition towards God. Let none of you, therefore, who are in Rome, help him. Rather be you on my side, that is, on the side of God. Do not speak of Jesus Christ and yet set your desires on the world. Let not envy find a dwelling place among you. Nor even, should I when present with you exhort you to it, be you persuaded to listen to me, but rather give credit to those things which I now write to you. For though I am alive while I write to you, yet I am eager to die. My love has been crucified, and there is no fire in me desiring to be fed, but there is within me a water that liveth and speaketh, saying to me inwardly, Come to the Father. I have no delight in corruptible food, nor in the pleasures of this life. I desire the bread of God, the heavenly bread, the bread of life, which is the flesh of Jesus Christ, the Son of God, who became afterwards of the seed of David and Abraham, and I desire the drink of God, namely his blood, which is incorruptible love and eternal life. I no longer wish to live after the manner of men, and my desire shall be fulfilled if you consent. Be you willing, then, that you also may have your desires fulfilled. I entreat you in this brief letter, do you give credit to me. Jesus Christ will reveal these things to you, so that you shall know that I speak truly. He is the mouth altogether free from falsehood, by which the Father has truly spoken. Pray you for me, that I may attain the object of my desire. I have not written to you according to the flesh, but according to the will of God. If I shall suffer, you have wished well to me. But if I am rejected, you have hated me. Remember in your prayers the church in Syria, which now has God for its shepherd instead of me. Jesus Christ alone will oversee it, and your love will also regard it. But as for me, I am ashamed to be counted one of them. For indeed I am not worthy, as being the very last of them and one born out of due time. But I have obtained mercy to be somebody, if I shall attain to God. My spirit salutes you and the love of the churches that have received me in the name of Jesus Christ, and not as a mere passer-by. For even those churches which were not near to me in the way, I mean according to the flesh, have gone before me, city by city, to meet me. Now I write these things to you from Smyrna by the Ephesians, who are deservedly most happy. There is also with me, along with many others, Crocus, one dearly beloved by me. As to those who have gone before me from Syria to Rome for the glory of God, I believe that you are acquainted with them. To whom, then, do you make known that I am at hand? For they are all worthy, both of God and of you, and it is becoming that you should refresh them in all things. I have written these things unto you on the day before the 9th of the calends of September, that is, on the 23rd day of August. Fare you well to the end in the patience of Jesus Christ. Amen.
I hope you enjoyed that. I am really proud of the work that James did, and I am hoping we can do a lot more of these and release them for free in every possible venue. But I put this here for you to listen to for two reasons. First, I would love to get feedback on the idea of the project and your feedback on this particular recording that you just heard, and you can email me about that at podcast@catholicculture.org. And secondly, as you probably know, catholicculture.org runs almost entirely on donations. So if we are going to do a long-term project of this kind, we need the budget for it. We are definitely looking for people, whether they're already donors or have not donated to us before, people who are interested in specifically supporting this project and our developments on the audio front in general. So if you'd like to do that, please go and visit catholicculture.org/donate/audio. And we would very much appreciate your help, or if even just feedback of any kind, and of course prayers. All right, so today's guest is a young Italian sculptor named Jago. Jago is probably best known for his extremely realistic marble sculptures, with particular attention to the details of skin. He's also known for his use of social media, both as a way of demonstrating the sculpting process and making it accessible to others, and as a form of patronage for his works. Now, Jago actually sculpted a marble bust of Pope Benedict XVI several years ago, which Pope Benedict liked enough that he gave it a pontifical medal. Then when Pope Benedict resigned, Jago reworked it drastically in a quite startling but I think effective way. Another interesting thing about him is that he's more or less self-taught, because he found that in his art school in Italy, the professors had such a contempt for the idea of studying the masters of the past that he pretty much had to go that route on his own. So we talk about all these things and more in the interview, and although Jago is not a practicing Catholic, I think you'll find his thoughts on art and tradition very interesting and somewhat congenial. Now, I will warn you, in case anybody is listening with their kids in the room, that there is one point later in the interview where Jago uses a crude word to describe certain works of modern art. And it's somewhat funny because, as you'll hear in the interview, I initially thought he was just using the word as a way of sort of being generally derogatory towards a certain type of modern art. But in fact, he was giving a literal description of what the art consists of, and even the title of the work in Italian. So it's nothing horrible and nothing anybody should be upset by, but I just wanted to mention it in case you had children in the room who you do not want to hear anything slightly crude. Jago, welcome to the Catholic Culture Podcast.
Hello. Thank you very much for inviting me. I'm so sorry for my English, so...
It's no problem.
I'm sorry.
I understand you got interested in marble sculpting at a very early age. Is that right?
Yeah, it is. I was very young, and actually my mother, she's a teacher, and when I was young, she brought me in Rome to see the beauty of the city, and I just recognized myself in that beauty. And so I understood quickly what was my future: art and sculpting, drawing, and that was what made me happy.
Sculpting in marble used to be very common, but in modern times it is somewhat neglected.
We live today, and today we have different possibilities to use different materials or something. The modern age are pretty strange, but marble lives also today. If you go in a mountain, what do you find? You find stone. So it's also modern. It's also contemporary. So we think that contemporary means something particular, means just today is a way to do something. But everything that you can see in this moment, you can feel in this moment, it's contemporary because it live with you. So if you see a marble sculpture now, it's contemporary.
So what inspired you to choose that medium in particular?
Maybe the story behind, because I saw these great masters from the past, and they just inspired me because of the act to sculpt. When you do something so difficult to realize. I saw the man behind the masterpiece, and I just imagined myself in that condition, and I said myself, could be great to be like that. Imagine what it means to create something. So for me, the pleasure, the stronger feeling in myself was to imagine myself to create something so incredible, something that when people see, just feel that emotion to say, could I be able to do something like that?
So having been to Rome as a young child, would your first inspirations have been like the masters of the Italian Renaissance?
Yeah.
So like Michelangelo.
It's pretty common to see something like that. I grew up in a small town close to Rome called Anagni, and it's from the Middle Age, Roman Middle Age. And, you go around, it just around you, everything like that. It's pretty easy to confront yourself with that kind of beauty. So Michelangelo, Bernini, and a lot of other great masters.
So what were your first practical steps that you took in beginning to learn? How old were you when you actually began to study?
Well, I don't know if I ever studied something. For a long time, I tried to replicate what was in line of my desire. And when I was young, I just manipulate everything with clay or plaster. And because I haven't a marble. Marble, it wasn't in my possibility.
Whatever materials were accessible to you.
Yeah, wood or something like that. But my desire was marble because marble had that story. If you worked with marble, marble come from the past. So his mindfulness, is full of history, full of beauties, and tell a story older than everything else. So that was my desire. And I just quickly start to work and modeling something and understand my ability. And my lucky was to have a family that understood my potential and just leave me free to do what I want to do. Also, in the worst period of my life, when we had no money or something like that, my family never asked to me go to work because we need money. Just leave me free to do what I want to do, and that was the best lucky of my life. Yeah. So after that, I just find a place where I could work, because the difficult thing to work in marble is to have a place. You need a material, you need a place, you need an instrument, so it's an expensive work. And if you don't have money, how to can have all of this instrument to do what you want? So you have to be smarter. You have to be smart to find the right way to share, maybe. So I start to work on social media and show my work, because I wanted to talk of my work by myself. And so after 11 years, now I'm here in New York and I'm free to do what I want. I have a patron, I have a people around me and a family who help me because believe in me. But for build this, you need to work a lot every day for all your life.
How did you originally get your hands on marble before you could afford to buy it?
Actually, my first contact with marble was because I had no money for buy. So where you can find marble?
Yeah.
You can find it in the river down the quarry. And what happens in the river down the quarry? You find a marble that is in the form of stone, because of the humans go in the mountain, destroy the mountain for take the block of marble, and the rest.
So there's like some debris, some leftover.
They put down the mountain, and this marble go in the river, and the river during the years with the water work on that stone and transform again the stone in a natural stone. So give back to the stone a new natural identity. And so I understood a lot of things. So I start to work inside the stone and leaving a natural part of the stone because of the respect of the story behind. And so, it's just a process. And after that, I just grow up and working on Instagram and social media, sharing my work. Someone maybe, ask me, come here and you work with my marble. Okay, so you don't buy the marble, but you can share. So you develop a portfolio of contact that are involved in your work because are interested in your work, and actually you work together at some point. So this is part of my work, to just work with the others. It's a sharing work, and it's very beautiful. It's very beautiful. No one does something alone. Michelangelo, without a patron, without a popes, he did nothing. Everyone, each artist needs a patron.
You have your own unique way of working with patronage, and you've been called the social artist. So I understand that people can buy like a share in the work. Is that how it works?
Yeah, this is something in particular that we are doing right now with the sculpture I made of Benedict, only Pope Benedict. In 2010, 2009, and I finished the sculpture in 2016 when I undress Pope, when he just abdicate.
Yes,
I decided to undress him, because for me it was a great moment, that the great point of my work, great point of that moment. And so the sculpture changed completely the original form, and now you can buy the sculpture. Everyone can buy a part of the sculpture, in quotes. That's correct to say, in shares.
In other words, like
shares.
Shares.
Yes, shares.
I see.
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
Yeah, and it's very good because for the first time you can go inside a museum and you can say, "This is mine. I have the certification. Part of that work is mine." And it's pretty good, because usually you go inside a museum and you pay the ticket for look at something that someone say this is a piece of art, but you have no decision. You are not involved in that decision. So for the first time you go in a museum and you can say, that is mine and is for the community. I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's a unique way of getting people involved with the process, and you are also very open about sharing your process of making it work on social media.
Yeah, you need to be. For me, is a part of the work. There is a deep connection between the process I share on social media or just the picture and my work. The social media is part of my work. It's deeply connected. I'm here today because of the social media, because of the use I made of the social media in general. I need the people around me. There is a connection. So I also start to work in live streaming. Why? Because at some point of my life, for me, it was a problem to have someone close to me looking at me during the work. It was a problem. But in the end, I saw my work and I said, it is good. So maybe I can, use that process. So maybe people have to involve in my work. Why don't share the work in live streaming so people can participate to the process directly?
Yes.
They can send me a message and they can influence me. So my work changed, because if I work alone in my studio, there is no connection between me and you. But if you are there and we talk, you are in the work, because my work changed. Okay, so I just use that. So I know that today my works are made by a lot of people around me, because I feel the influence of everyone around me. I need. And people know this.
And it's a great way of making the final work less intimidating to people who may want to follow a similar path, who may want to be artists themselves, but they only see the final product and it seems unapproachable.
When you see something finished, you have to just imagine what behind. Right. But if you involve in the process, if like for me to understand what means to be pregnant, a little bit, you can be closer to that emotion. Maybe you don't know. Of course, I know what means. Maybe I know what means to be pregnant, because I do what I have to do.
Yes.
I have to work
all
day long. No.
Totally. Yes.
Yeah. So it's the same. Like to be a mother is the same. You have to stay there. No excuse. Okay. No distraction, because there is a deeply connection between you and your baby. And after 8 months, maybe you do something good, but you have to work on yourself. So this is what means for me to be a sculptor, to work on myself. If I work on myself, my baby will have a good life and can be a newborn, but I can share the process. And this is a beautiful part, because people understand. Imagine when we talk about Michelangelo, you have to imagine what the process was. And there is a lot of speculation about that, because everyone historical can invent something. For me, it's this, for me, it's that. But in your imagination, there is something else. So when you show something in video, everything changes, because you see, no problem, no excuse. You actually see what happened. And for me, this is wonderful.
So let's go back to your very brief time in art school. You spent just a year in a formal art school, is that right?
Yes. If I put together all the days inside the school, it's just a year. Yeah, something like that.
So
maybe 2.
What was your experience? What kind of school was it? I mean, you don't have to say the specific school if you don't want to, but
it was the university, the academy, just the normal academy in Italy, in Frosinone. It was close to my own town.
And what was their approach to teaching there?
Well, actually, usually in the academy around Italy, you can, like students, you can decide what kind of teacher you want. You see the program, and maybe in sculpture, you have 3 different possibilities. So you go where you prefer. And in Frosinone, there wasn't this possibility. So you had just accept what the board decide to put in front of you. And maybe it's good, I don't know. But in my case, was the biggest limit of my happening in my life in that period, because it was just the beginning of the second my second years in the academy, and we changed the professor. And at the same time, they invited me to participate to the Biennale of Venice, organized by Vittorio Sgarbi. He's an important curator and historical in Italy. And so he invited me. I was so young. I don't know if I was the younger artist in the Biennale. Maybe, probably. Was really, really young. And I just went back to the academy, and I was so happy. Imagine, you can participate something important. Nothing changed, but it's important. You can understand something more.
Yes,
it's like when you are in love for the first time. It's a new experience. Good, enjoy that. So, but the professor told me, no, you cannot participate. I have to decide if you are ready or not. Yeah, I'm sorry for my language, but you are ready when you do that. You are ready to drink coffee when you drink coffee. That's the moment when you are ready. So I just avoid the discussion and go there, okay, straight on my way. And after that, he just blocked me in my journey in the academy, because he given me the possibility to make an exam or something like that. So I had no money lost my time and just leave the academy. But it was important, because if I remember, in that moment was terrible, because, you feel lost. Now you know who you are, you work, but it's different. But if I look at that time, it was
very discouraging.
Yeah, because you are just lost. You are alone with yourself, out of the academy, this perfect place where everything inside happen. It's a perfect place, and you are in the world. But was the moment that changed my life completely, because you have to find your own sense in the world, and you have to be able to apply your ability in the real life. Because when you pay an institutional system, everything is perfect there. You have an exhibition, you have someone that make compliment, you go on, your family at home, you go back and you eat. But where you are alone on the street and you have to survive, you have to think about that. So the big work of my life was to apply my imagination, my creativity to the real life, how to survive doing what I want to do. Because that's the point. I want to do what I want to do. I want to be free to be an artist, a sculptor. So I have to apply this feeling in real life, and I have to struggle for survive. Like today, nothing changed, but I am free to do what I want. I don't care if tomorrow I go under the bridge to live. No, I don't care. But I know how to be free. It's more important than to be rich.
So just continue to talk about that time in the academy a little longer. You really wanted to study like the traditional techniques, right? But were they not encouraging that?
When I just show my passion for something, they block me immediately, and they say, this is something old. We should destroy this. We have destroyed this. We should go on. We have to forget all this, okay? Because the problem is, and I understood after, they wasn't able to do that. So when you are not able to do that, you prefer to destroy. You prefer to say, it's not good, it's not beautiful. We can do something better. Now you need to be another kind of artist, an intellectual artist. That's what you need. Nothing more. It's not important to be able to do something. So for me, it was impossible, because it's like if someone say, it's not important to have sex. It's just, you think about that. Imagine around the street people just think about that, the frustration. We are in a body, we have to do something, in a different way. So there is a deeply connection between thinking is a material too. Think about something is something material, it's not abstract, because it happens in our mind, and the brain is material. Okay, so that was the problem, but also the solution that time.
I remember hearing you say a few months ago that they said you have to invent your own language.
Yeah, because when you love the traditional sculpture like me, and you also understand that you live today, you put together a different media. And I was in love also with the hyper-realistic sculpture. And for me was, at some point, was necessary to apply and to put together everything, music, sculpture, and different passions. And so I understood that we are unique when we are able to put different media together. And I just apply my passion for hyperrealistic sculpture on marble, and was something new. For example, sculpt the skin. In the Renaissance, was impossible to do something like that because they worked for a commission. Okay, the artists in general worked for commissions.
Mm-hmm.
So the taste of that time was pretty different, and people want to see the translucence of marble in some way, but I don't care about that. So I just apply my idea and I invent this kind of texture. I just sculpt the skin of the marble, and now it's become like an effect. And if you go in internet, in Facebook or in Instagram, a lot of artists that follow with me now copy and do the same, but for them it's just an effect. For me it's my life, because I arrive at that point after 11 years. Think about marble, go around the world, go in the river and broke my back just for take the stone and analyze myself. So I have a real meaning for do that. It's my signature. And it's easy now that someone look at me on Instagram and say, oh, I like that effect, I want to apply on my sculpture. But actually he can just say, I do that because I like. No story behind. I do that because there is a precise meaning. I sculpt skin because the first time I went in Tuscany for take the stone from the river, I hear the worker in the quarry talked about the stone with two precise words. They talked using the word skin, the skin of the marble, and the veins of the marble, because marble has the veins inside. So there is a deeply connection between humankind and marble, the stone, the nature around. The stone if you leave the stone out, become older. Like our skin is pretty close to humankind. And I just recognize this and I use in my way, poetically, maybe, no? But philosophically, there is this meaning inside. And I need 11 years for arrive at that point. And now I see people around just copy and do the same. Say, oh, look at that. It's funny. It's funny, but maybe it's just normal. It's language, no?
Mm-hmm.
You take something new and you just use. It's just evolution.
Yeah.
So it's fun.
So it's very interesting you're talking about influence, but your professor, I think I remember you said he wouldn't even show you his work.
No.
Right?
No. Never.
He said he didn't want to influence you.
Yeah.
But you wanted the opposite, right? You wanted to be influenced.
For sure. You know, you influence no one. Show me what you do. I want to inspire myself from, through you. You are in front of me. If I know you, I can think something I like and I can apply. Again, I can discover myself by your point of view. But if you don't show me anything, how I can recognize myself in you? Give me this possibility. I also have to believe in you. But if I don't know who you are, how I can believe in you? Just because someone says you are a professor? Because someone says, oh, he's graduate, he knows a lot of things, I have to believe in you? No, I need the proof. Maybe we live in a period that we need no proof. But we, like humans, we have to prove something. This is the humankind, our condition. We have to prove everything. Otherwise, I don't care. I go somewhere else. Okay? I go on the street, a lot of people just talking, prove me a lot of things, prove me also the existence of something else, just talking. Why you don't want me? Why you don't want to show me something about you? Maybe because you have nothing to show. In Italy, we say, if you don't talk, it's because you are intellectually elevated, something like that. Saggio, I don't know, I'm sorry. In my opinion, if you don't talk, it's because you have nothing to say.
I see.
Okay? So.
I see. tell us a little bit about your technique. You have a kind of, you're working with, what, a drill in one hand and a vacuum in the other? Is that how it works?
Yeah, in Italy, because I had no, the aspiration, the machine could take the air.
The vacuum?
Vacuum, yeah, something like maybe, the vacuum in a hand and the other for the dust.
Yeah. Okay.
The object that you use for clean on the ground.
Yes, a vacuum cleaner.
Vacuum?
Yes.
Vacuum cleaner. Yeah. I'm very expert about that because I bought a lot for work, just for work, because I worked in a small place and close without window and in the center of the city, so you don't have to make noise and a lot of these things. And so I worked with a small vacuum at the same time in my left hands. And with the other hands, I work with this small drill just for arrive, in the detail, work in the details. But originally, I work by hands and I work with pneumatic hammer. I use everything I have at disposal. But the difference is this. Today, I work alone. No one helped me. So from the beginning to the end, I can follow the entire process, creative process. So if you see my work, you know that from the beginning to the end, I follow the process because I work on the stone.
So there's no assistant?
No assistant.
I see.
In the past, you had a lot of assistants. Michelangelo, Bernini. You think that Bernini finished his work?
The workshop, yeah.
Yeah, Bernini has never finished his work. There was Finelli, was the guy who finished and make all the ornament in the sculpture or something like that. So the idea come from the artist. He made the clay model. He just finished something in marble, but actually there was a lot of people around him. Imagine Michelangelo. He had a lot of people build every day the instrument to work because the iron, the steel was not the same that we have today. So you imagine at that time the paper was something for rich people. Imagine, we have to think with the mind of that time. But today is different, it's completely different. So my luck is that alone I can do everything, okay, by myself. I need no one assistant around me. So I can follow the process from the beginning to the end. And this is pretty good. I learned a lot.
So you talked earlier about how in the academy, the emphasis was on doing very intellectual work. So would you say your work is less conceptual, or is it more the concept is integrated into the physical reality?
For me, there is no difference between conceptual and material. It's the same things. I use my mind all day long. I just think about sculpture. I just think about sculpture. I just work on my mind. And after there is the action to do something, okay? And everything is conceptual. Everything. There is a concept inside everything. I try to be clear. We can translate in a sentence, in a formula, in something, everything, okay? But also without our sentence or our formula, everything already exists. So we want to find in a piece of stone something conceptual because we want to give to the stone a value. We want to add a value because in the end, I'm sorry, but they want to sell. They want to take money. It's just business because you have to justify why you are doing that. So if you are an intellectual, if you use your word for add some value to that, because you think people is not able to understand the value behind, you can sell also shit. And actually, this is what happened. People sell shit. I talk about shit and the object,
Yes.
Yeah. People sell that also and justify because it's a conceptual art. And so we invent this perfect place out of the space, out of the city, inside the city, but out of the city at the same time, perfect, where if you put something inside, a piece of shit, it becomes art. So there is a place where art is art. But the same thing out is not art anymore. It's clear?
Yeah.
It is?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's clear.
Just so you
if
know.
If you talk with a baby with this, baby say, man, what are you talking about? This is shit.
Yeah. Just so you know, we have to have clean language on the podcast, if possible.
I'm sorry. I just forgot, but you can put a bit.
Yeah, we'll just say
because my vocabulary.
You could say this is garbage, know, something like
sorry.
that. It's all right. I just wanted to say. I didn't want to stop you, but
no,
yeah.
But I'm sorry. It's just the title of the work.
Yeah,
there is an important work. It's merda d'artista, and merda means shit. Is the title of the work.
So you're literally describing. Yeah, it's not the label you're putting on it.
No,
it's
no,
their own.
I was talking about the title of the work.
Yes,
it's just the title, so I don't want to say.
It's all right.
Yeah,
it's all right.
I'm so sorry because when you have that small vocabulary, you have to put something inside, and it's very easy to put.
It's it's fine. I understand.
Yeah, you're right. I'm so sorry. No, I don't want to be unrespectable.
Okay.
This is what happened when you interview on a sculpture.
It's okay. So it's interesting what you say about having to demonstrate the value with words, because it's like when you go to an exhibit and you see the plaque and it has 3 paragraphs describing the piece, but I should be able to see, and intuitively understand. I shouldn't have to read a whole explanation.
Yeah. So imagine you play piano.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. Imagine if after the concert you have to say, okay, wait, people, it's not finished. I have to explain.
Yeah.
What you have to explain?
Yeah.
What? Something changed when you are talking about it. People don't want to leave. People go out. Say, okay, thank you very much. Maybe someone stay because, are shy and don't want to. But people don't care. People feel. We have to stop to add something. Nothing to add.
Yeah.
We just talk about everything. We want to explain everything. You know what? Why? Because we understand nothing. We understand nothing. And you know why? Because there is nothing to understand. Everything already exists. We want to talk about music. We want to talk about... People read a poem and after explain. Why you read a poem if you have to explain it? Just explain. Why I have to lose my time for... what is this? Explain me. When you have to explain something, there is a problem. It's not clear. So next time you have a concert... you just explain the concert. Don't play.
Don't even play.
Don't play. Why?
That's right.
Explain your concert.
Yeah. Let's talk about your piece, Habemus Papam, the original version. Yeah. What led you to sculpt Pope Benedict in the first place?
There was this idea for make this portrait because at that time there was the restoration of the Vatican Library. And maybe there was this possibility to put the sculpture there. But when I finished the work in the meetings and I didn't like I don't remember the name of the commissioner. So we had a couple of meetings and I didn't like because I made the eyes empty. No
pupils in the eyes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just made 2 holes.
Yes.
It was a quote of an historical artist called Adolfo Wild, and he made a portrait of another pope that the Vatican have inside the Vatican museums. So there was this connection for me. So after that, they just say, if you put the eyes inside again, we can accept the work. Otherwise, we are so sorry, but we don't want to work because the Pope has an image and we work on the image of the Pope. Imagine all the world. Look at the Pope. If we give this image, something change. There is a marketing section. Of course. Yes. So we can imagine what happened in the Vatican is an industry. Okay. So of course I couldn't accept that because I was crazy, and a lot of people told me, accept, you put your work there inside is very important.
So they wanted you to fill in the eyes.
Yeah, and I say no. I said, no, I don't want. So I just take the work for myself, and was good because I exposed in the Biennale of Venice, exposed in the Reggia di Caserta, and the life of that work changed.
And what were you thinking about when you were sculpting that original? I mean, was there something about Pope Benedict that you tried to bring out in that bust? Something about his personality?
I tried to do something just in the traditional way, respecting what already exists all around in the Vatican environment.
Okay.
So I tried to stay in line, but was something that I didn't like. And for me, it was very good that I didn't accept, because now, if I had the work inside the Vatican, now, I'm talking about now, and was maybe something that I couldn't accept to have there in my name.
Did you not? You didn't like it, other than what you did with the eyes?
No, absolutely, I didn't.
Because you were trying to imitate a style.
Yeah, it was something actually out of myself. Was something
interesting.
Yeah, it was something that I terrible. I couldn't buy something like that.
Interesting.
Also,
okay.
if you give me like a present, I say no, thank you. I don't want it in my house.
Very interesting.
So when I destroyed, I was very happy.
So, but they gave you the impression that the Pope didn't like it, but it turned out that he actually hadn't seen it, right?
Yeah.
And he did later see it. So what happened when he saw it?
It's strange, because they told me that the Pope saw and he didn't like. Yeah. But after the Biennale of Venice, there was a gallerist from Rome. Unfortunately, now is passed away. And he saw the work, and he presented my work for a competition. I didn't know about that. They just called me and said, your work we'd like to have for the competition. I don't remember what kind of competition was. Well, okay, it was something very important. It's a prize. It's an important prize in Vatican. And for a medal, Pontifex medal, okay? Every year they make the Pontifex medal with the face of the Pope. And there are in a close number. They just made a few exemplars of that medal. So I participated to the prize, and I didn't win. But the Pope, because it was not a contemporary, it was not my work wasn't in line with the other works, was outside. Was just a contemporary work, was not in line of the church idea of the prize, and I didn't win. But the Pope gave me the medal, and he sent me. There is a message of the Pope. I want to give the medal to the young sculptor for his work.
So he liked it, even though the commission rejected it.
So after I understood that actually he never saw the sculpture before, because if he liked now and he gave me a medal, so it was funny.
You have to wonder how many, I'm sure a lot of that happens where like people will just speak for the Pope, but he didn't actually,
Of course, imagine the Pope cannot follow this.
He can't control everybody in the Vatican. They all have their own agendas.
It's impossible. It's pretty normal. But you understand some dynamic, no?
Yeah.
And you just accept the fact that it's like that.
So fast forward several years later, Pope Benedict resigns. It's a historic event in the history of the church. Not the first time that it's happened, but the first time since the Middle Ages.
Yeah.
And so you decided to revisit this work. And this is part of an overall thing, because you like to revisit your old works, right?
I always do that. Now, every time I revisit, I change. It's part of my work, because my question is now, when a work is finished? When you say it's finished, but if you put out, the time continue to change the work. So everything is finished and unfinished at the same time. We just try to maintain the same form during the year, but it's an utopic idea.
Yeah.
So for me, it was great to that event. And I remember I had an exhibition, and my father, the last day of the exhibition, I just take out the Pope from the exhibition, and my father, that is born the same day of Benedict, the April 16th. Yeah. And
yes, very soon. Yes.
Yeah, pretty soon.
Yeah.
Me, 18. And he just sent me a message, and he told me the Pope abdicated today. And for me, it was a flash in my mind that just, okay, maybe I have to do something. I have the possibility to do something for myself. Okay. And so I went to my father and I said, maybe a couple of weeks later, I said to him, "Hey, Dad, I'd like to destroy the sculpture and change the form, the shape. I want to make him naked." Okay, like he go back on human condition, or just show himself.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
And this is a bust, so it's still respectful. It's
sure.
just his upper chest and his head.
There is something. The divinity is in the bodies everywhere. So
it's a dignified.
It's just addressed.
Yes, it's a dignified. Portrayal.
For sure. Maybe more. Because we are what we are.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate what he did. And my father told me, "Are you crazy? Do another one." Okay. And I showed the telephone with the picture. I'm sorry, because I already started. And he said, "Are you crazy? And now you don't know what happens." And I said, this is the meaning of sculpture. You never know what happened. When you have a block of stone, you know what inside. You just have to work.
You can't go back and edit it like on a computer.
Yeah.
It's like each decision is.
Yeah. Now you can do that. It's very
that's what the expression, the English expression "set in stone," it means. It can't be changed.
Yeah. This is the most important thing to me, and I repeat myself every day. With stone, you cannot go back. You don't have Control Z, in the computer when you write something. You can go back. We live today in this dimension. We think, we can correct everything.
Control.
We can go back. Yeah, we can control. No. And this is a great exercise. So for me, that moment was the most important moment in my life, artistic life, because I understood something of myself, the attachment. When you are attached to something, when you do something, look how many prizes I won with this work. But when you destroy something, everything changed. Everything. And was very important to me. So I understood that everything is just something that happened in a moment of life and it has to finish.
Yeah.
So when you are able to destroy something, your life changed completely because of the attachment. We're suffering because of the attachment of everything. We think this is mine. What means? What means is mine? Tomorrow is nothing. It's garbage.
So you did a couple things. You removed the papal vestments.
Yeah.
You kept the fisherman's ring, and you added the eyes.
I leave the.
You left the hat. The cap.
The cap.
Yes.
And the ring.
Yes.
Yeah, because like initiation.
Yeah.
Also, if the Pope abdicate, he cannot go back cardinal. Okay, become cardinal again.
Yes.
Go back like in the football league. No, you go back in second division. No,
yes.
You still be a Pope because he is in initiation in every ritual contest. No, so I just leave the sign of the level he was. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's just.
And you did something with the eyes. Yes, you finally filled in.
Yeah, and the eyes before was just empty.
Yes.
And after I describe inside the real eyes, so realize is good. It's a good wordplay. And when you move, you just prospectively, you just see the movement of the eyes, and it's pretty good because I had another question. And this is the answer. This effect is just the answer of my question. When usually you see a masterpiece, okay? So you see something. But when is the masterpiece that look at you? Who is the masterpiece? And for me, it was good because we are too. So because you feel, the piece of art, look at you.
So you're saying you are a work of art.
Yeah, you are.
I see.
You are what you see. Usually when we see something and we judge, for example, I judge you, you are not a good person. We are able to say you are not a good person because we experience in the past to be a bad person. We know what it means. So you can say you are bad because actually you are. You recognize just yourself.
I see.
And the level of your hungry Agree?
Anger.
Your anger. So,
Yes.
Yeah, because it's 12 o'clock now, so I'm a little bit hungry.
Me too.
The level of your anger is the level of your being.
So it's very interesting how the process of change in the sculpture mirrored your artistic process, because when someone becomes pope, it's not about the individual so much about as the office, right? You know, you are putting on this whole tradition, this 2,000-year tradition. And in the same way, you had to put on this artistic style that was not your own. You had to do this traditional style that would be in line with all the other sculptures, just as he had to put on those vestments. And it's just a really interesting parallel between the two, where you sort of were subordinating your own self to this tradition. And then, you know, eventually the garments came off. But it's very, very interesting.
Tradition is a difficult word. Tradition.
Yes. For modern people, it is. Yes.
You know, in Italy is interesting. Tradition is close to betrayed, the meaning. The tradizione, tradimento.
And there's also I know there's an Italian expression about translating too that's similar, right?
Yeah.
To, you could tell the expression.
Translate, tradition, as the same, at some point has the same meaning.
Yeah.
When we translate, we betrayed. If I translate your poem in Italian, I betrayed your poem. Because I changed the meaning, I changed the feeling, change at some level, I change everything. So there is a big connection.
Yeah. But of course, your work has a much more positive relationship to tradition than, say, your professors did, because they saw it as something that was oppressive and restricting your freedom, whereas you were looking to nourish, to feed, you know, to grow on the tradition, but they felt it as like a weight pushing down, keeping you from being yourself. But for you, you wanted to study it so you could become yourself.
Yeah. I need to make an experience. If I like something, I want to try. Okay?
Yeah.
So I wanted to try to do that. I understood. Okay, I can start from that and do something else. You know, when you're learning something, you can follow my step. For find your own step. Okay? That's what I think. So I just start from something that I like and I go in another direction now. I don't want to copy or be the clone of someone. I don't care. I don't care. I just want to invent something. When I want to see something, I don't go in Google to see if I found. I do. I do.
Right.
I want to make the experience now, and maybe I invent something new. It's like a scientific process. It's the same. For me, the best art today is a science.
Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Well, it's perfect because open your mind, can explain you everything, and it's beautiful and it's deeply connection with everything because it's the same process. I want to prove, science have to do something. Now there is a theory and they have to prove. You have to be able to repeat something to prove that actually is scientific. And for me, it's the same. But the proof, where is the proof in myself? I have to prove myself to do something. And I have to work. And everything starts with the imagination. The best scientists all around the world, they are a genius. They use the imagination. They imagine something and they try to translate in a language to explain you. And when you can repeat, you have
and they may be very artistic people. The great
for me,
geniuses
there
of
is
sciences.
a big, beautiful connection between everything. We want to divide, we want to divide everything because it's easy to have take money when you divide everything. Diavolo, devil. Divide. Etymologically, means to divide something.
Very interesting.
Yeah. Symbol means put together.
Symbol.
The word symbol etymologically means put together.
That makes sense. Yeah.
If you have a stone and you cut the stone, people travel in the past and you gave one part of the stone to a people. And when the people come back, you say, oh, you are the same This is the symbol you put together.
Ah.
Okay. So, and what is the opposite is diavolo, is diablo.
Wow.
Is devil. Devil is the division.
Wow. Wow, that's fascinating. Yeah. Yeah, I think my Catholic audience will like that because the word symbol is very important, in the Catholic faith. And it's like even the creed, the credo.
Yeah.
That we say is also called the symbol of faith. Yeah. And it's what unites everybody. Yeah. Anyway, very interesting. The etymology is fascinating.
It is very important because I think people, when in the church, usually they had to stand the hands and say, I have a question. Usually people just follow. Why? People have to ask. We don't go. If people go in the church, this is my question for the people who go in the church. If you go in the church, you need to have a question. Okay? If you don't understand something, ask something. In the school, everywhere, I say the same. We have to have a question. After, maybe we continue to need. It's good. It's your decision. It's very important.
You want to understand.
But you have to know why you do something.
Yes.
I don't know if you agree, but for me, it's very important.
I agree with parts.
Yeah, of course.
It's okay.
For me, it's very important to have a question. Okay.
Yes, I agree with that. Yes,
we can grow. We can grow.
Yes.
Okay.
Because if you don't have a question, then it means you're not searching for something.
Tomorrow you find another person that say, I have a new something new for you, and you believe and you follow. But if we have a question, maybe our creed becomes stronger.
Yes.
Because it's not just something, I have to believe because my father believed, my grandmother believed because it's tradition. No, this is the tradition.
Yes.
But if you have a question and maybe you can find, now I know why I want to believe. Now I know why. It's like I have a question. Inside that stone, I see something. But if I don't work, I just continue to imagine, no? And maybe someone sculpt for me, but the other person who sculpt for me make another thing. So I have to sculpt by myself for see actually what I see in my mind. So that's what I mean. You have a question.
Yes, I see.
Your hands and ask. And after maybe in the answer, you find a new reason for go on in the same way to become stronger or just change. So, but people usually follow. We just follow because we need to.
Yes.
No, it's funny. For me, it's funny. I say this because I want to be free to be myself.
If you are going to follow, you should follow, not be asleep. You should be follow because you understand where you want to go.
Of course. And maybe you become stronger in your decision. I know. Now I really know. It's not just something that I have to do. Maybe, I don't know, you go maybe in the church in the Sunday or Sunday morning. I don't know. I have to go.
Yes.
I want maybe because it's necessary, because it's something that I know why I want to do that. It's your decision. You're free. Like every day I wake up at 6 o'clock because I want to go to work, not because I have to. Okay. It's pretty different.
Yes.
It's pretty different.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So that is easy. I think everything is connected.
Yes. Okay, so how long have you been in the United States now?
Well, the first time I arrived here was 1 year ago for the Armory Show.
Okay.
The fair they made here in Manhattan. And now with my visa, because I have an artistic visa, something like that, and everything is clear, and, I have my work. And 6 months, actually, I finished The Veiled Sun, this work I have to show in Manhattan. Before that, we bring in Naples for...
Is it still here?
Yeah.
Okay, The Veiled Sun.
Yeah, The Veiled Sun, yeah. It's maybe my most difficult work.
Tell us a little bit about this piece.
It's very It's very difficult. It's very difficult, but actually it's a piece of stone.
Yes.
It's marble. It's American marble. I have to say this. It's a wonderful marble from Vermont quarries and called Danby. And the first time that I work with American marble. And I work in Westbury, in the center of Long Island, where actually I have my laboratory now in precision stone. And I have a family there that support my work. And I just realized this piece for Naples, for the city of Naples, and it's an important operation. And we are going to put the sculpture in a chapel that they are going to open for the first time for the community. So the idea was to have the exhibition in the end of May, in June, in 21, 22. But in that 2 days, the Pope Francis go in Naples. So it's not very good for the communication to do the same event. So the weeks after, we will have the event in Naples. And I hope that the community will follow with the sentiment. So the chapel is inside the church, and you go inside, and there is just work, and it's a wonderful place, not so big, and you can enjoy the work. And it's an operation also because of the place, actually, the neighborhood. The neighborhood is very old, and there was a lot of criminality, young criminality. So we try to, not just me, but all the community, they change completely the environment, and they are working on it very well. So I know the church there helped the guys to imagine in the church they teach to boxing, for just take away from the street and do another activity, also physical, but in a different way. With the police teach to the children to boxing inside the church. It's incredible. It's just incredible. And so this is another operation, very huge, to maybe change something. Because if you build a new symbol, a monument, maybe around that symbol, you can open a bar, another open a restaurant, another build an hotel, because a lot of people coming now and want to see. So everything changed now. Everything, the economy of the place changed, and maybe everything changed. It's easy. Around just one thing can change everything. So we can talk about philosophy, the meaning of the work, but actually we want to change something materially. After we can speculate, but actually we are going to change something real, the life of the people there.
That's great.
We will see.
Can you tell us what was so difficult about this piece? First, can you just describe what the piece is?
Yeah, it's just the figure of a baby. It's a big block of stone, 2 tons, maybe more. And there is just this small figure of a baby under under a veil. And it's very complicated, all the shapes of the veil.
It's the veil that makes it so difficult, right?
Yeah. You don't have to be good to do that. You have to be crazy.
Because you're trying to get the sort of translucent
actually,
look to it.
Yeah, definitely, yes. And so in the end, I realized this idea, and I confirmed to myself that I am able to do that. This is, I try always to prove myself that I am able to do that. And I did. So there is a relation also with another work in Naples, is a masterpiece from the past called The Veiled Christ. It's an iconic image all around the world. And so we made also a documentary, and I talk about the work, how they realized the work in the past and what they want to do now. So we will see. It will be very interesting to see the reaction of the people, because you are going to do something new, and in a place with an important history. When you touch something, then maybe they know. But I believe in my work.
And it has to do with the crisis of migrants, is that right? Maybe I'm misremembering. The piece, it has a contemporary significance.
Well, I can say this. Today, in the television just literally threw up to us a lot of garbage. And what we see, and we habit ourselves to see something terrible, like if it's nothing. Imagine you are in front of the television and you at the same time you are eating something. So you feel the pleasure to eating and the discussion maybe to see something terrible. So during the years, if you are a baby and you grow up doing this, at some point when you are 31 years old, also before, you walk on the street, and if you see something on the street dying, you don't care. It's just normal. So that's what we are doing. So we have all of these images arrive to us, and we just switch off, like in the telephone, no?
Yeah.
This image of the million children's, because we talk about millions. Imagine every day how many children die because someone just, push a button. And if I make a picture about something, we can switch off. But if you make a sculpture so heavy, no one can switch off. You have to go around. You have to consider it. Okay? And maybe you don't care. You just enjoy the masterpiece. But maybe someone can also involve in a different thinking. So I don't know, but maybe something happened.
So it's not just about like the specific thing that's depicted, but it's about the power of images, but also the way that images are devalued because we are shown so many images constantly from one to the next, and we don't ever have to engage on a deep level with them.
Just become normal. You see something and I go on. Now I see food. Now I see art. Now I see, one that is dead. Now I see it's everything the same. It's at the same level. No distinguish.
Yes, and it doesn't just take away our ability to have compassion for suffering. It also takes our ability to really enjoy beauty because we are shown constant, flashy, superficial, beautiful images, but they don't have a depth to them.
This is very interesting. I think about that. You can sculpt a dramatic image, very dramatic, terrible, but maybe people enjoy that because it's a piece of art. So there is always this connection. Imagine you go here in World Trade Center now, where happened this dramatic event some years ago, and people enjoyed the masterpiece of two fountains, the commemorative. So we apply art against the terrible fact all around the world. We use like the most important weapons, art. This is the power of art. The power of art is change the image of everything, change the consciousness of everything. So art is the most powerful weapons we have.
So, you said there will be an exhibition of the Veiled Sun in Manhattan?
Oh, yeah, I will show the Veiled Sun in Manhattan
before
soon.
It goes to Italy.
Yeah, the day before the end of the exhibition.
So when will that be in Manhattan?
I cannot say that.
Okay.
I'm sorry, but
this year maybe.
But I will share the event on Facebook, Instagram, everywhere. There will be huge communication about that. But will be in probably we are planning this week exactly the dates.
I see. Yeah, but it'll be this year, I'm assuming.
Yeah, for sure. It's on May. May, yeah.
In May, okay,
May,
got it.
Yeah. This incoming May, the first week.
So
probably.
people can follow you on Instagram, especially at Jago.
Jago, Jago. If you read Jago, Jago, the first page you find, for my lucky, is mine. So easy.
And are there any other exhibitions in the United States of your work that people can see in the near future?
Maybe after the exhibition, I will working on something to display in a square, so it will be easy for everyone.
And is this something that will be open to the public, or?
Well, in the ABC here in Manhattan, ABC Stone, I have something before the exhibition. I don't know what happens after the exhibition, but for the moment, people can come here and see something. So
this will be open?
Yeah, or in my laboratory, they can just contact ABC Stone or North American Sculpture Center, and they can ask information to visit my laboratory. Maybe they can help. It's not so easy, but because, I work there, but it's not impossible to.
Okay, Jago, thank you so much for taking the time to do this interview. It was very enjoyable.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure. From today, my work is completely changed because you conditioned me. So
beautiful.
Thank you very much.